So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K24 Next Gen. In today's video, we are back with another episode of our Throwback Rebuild series, and today it's the 2019 Los Angeles Clippers. I have received multiple requests to do a pre-Kawhi in PG-13 Clippers rebuild. The most recent notable one was by a user named Big Boy Juan, so thank you very much for your suggestion and for your recommendation. This is a Clippers team that went 48-34. They finished as the 8th seed in the Western Conference and then lost in 6 games in round 1 to the Golden State Warriors. So there is some work to do here today. Of course, this was the kind of final season before the Clippers, I don't want to say blew it up, but obviously made a lot of notable moves. Ended up trading for Paul George, a deal that is going down in infamy as maybe one of the worst trades of all time, which of course landed them Kawhi Leonard as well. So today we're going to see what's going to end up happening with this team and hopefully bring the Clippers a championship. And finally, you guys know the drill. As always, let me know any of the video ideas down below in the comments section. We are at a very, very weird point of the NBA offseason right now, and really just of the rebuild calendar that we find ourselves in every single year. It's a very down period, and a lot of people are probably saying, hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Why don't you let me know that down below in the comment section? I'm open to historic rebuilds, challenges, literally whatever you guys want to see. I know we got about a month plus to kill before 2K25. So excited for this one today. Let's get into it. All right, we have now found ourselves at the beginning of the 2018-2019 NBA season. I've really enjoyed doing throwback rebuilds in this era and kind of ones around this era in general, right? I don't love going back to like 2005 and doing rebuilds, mostly just because my knowledge of basketball when I was, 5 years old isn't exactly very strong. But here, this year, I was about 18, 19 years old. It's a little bit better, and it certainly comes back to me as these continue to roll on. So let's talk about this Clippers roster. Of course, they had not made the blockbuster 3 a.m. Woj bomb trade for Paul George from the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I'm going to avoid that mistake today because I enjoy draft picks, I enjoy assets, and I enjoy MVP candidates. And unfortunately, the Los Angeles Clippers gave up one in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to land Paul George. And of course, that led them to absolutely nothing. Let's talk about this team. Starting out here at the point guard spot, you got Patrick Beverley here. He's 30 years old at this point in time. Certainly a solid, serviceable role player. As of now, he is listed as our starting point guard. Certainly an argument to just play SGA at the 1, and we very well may do that. It's something we'll figure out as we go on. We got Milos Teodosic, not a name I have heard in a while. 71 overall, 31 years of age. Probably not going to be a 3-year option for me here today. We got Tyrone Wallace. I would be completely bullshitting you if I knew a lot about this man, so I'm not going to insult your intelligence. Let's head over to the shooting guard spot. Lou Will, obviously one of the elite 6th men in NBA history. He's 31 years old right now on a very, very nice 3-year, $24 million contract. Not exactly sure my plans with him here today, but we will, of course, figure it out. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander played his one and only season, his rookie year in Los Angeles before being moved to the Oklahoma City Thunder as one of the main pieces in that Paul George trade, the benefits of which the Oklahoma City Thunder are still obviously reaping today, while the Clippers find themselves in not such a fun position. So we're going to try to fix a franchise-altering mistake. I don't know if within 3 years SGA is going to grow into an MVP candidate, but from his first season in the league to his first season in Oklahoma City, he doubled his points from 10 to about 19 a game. So there's a lot of growth that can be done with this young man right here. You got Avery Bradley, certainly one of my favorite role players of all time. I'm a huge Celtics fan. I loved Avery Bradley in his time in Boston. That's not actually Avery Bradley. It's just somebody who I guess maybe somewhat reminisces Avery Bradley. That stash is oof. All right, we got Jerome Robinson and then Sindarius Thornwell as well. Not a name I've also heard in a minute. So a decent amount of depth here at the shooting guard spot. We're obviously going to figure out what we want to do with SGA. He is clearly going to be starting somewhere, though. The small forward spot, we have Danilo Gallinari. I'm not really sure if he's in my long-term plans. It is, of course, something we will figure out at some point in time, but he is on a multi-year deal at an 82 overall and 30 years of age. The power forward spot, the highest overall on this team right now, is Tobias Harris. I don't know if Tobias Harris is going to be a long-term piece for me. I believe he was actually traded to the 76ers around the deadline this year because obviously then they went on to, the 76ers had that heartbreaking loss in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals against Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors, and then they ended up paying Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler, them being the 76ers. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with him. Mike Scott, nice role player. Tough guy, I'm pretty sure. And then Luc Richey and Mbah a Moute, 32, 69 overall, probably not. Center spot, you got Montrezl Harrell, Marcin Gortat, and the GOAT himself, Mr. Boban Marjanovic. So decent team, obviously a nice amount of veterans here with a little bit of young talent mixed in. I certainly think I'd be remiss if I didn't at least make 1 or 2 trades before we head into year 1. So let's get into those. I know on paper this may not be the best first trade in the world, but I'm not going to make the same mistake the Philadelphia 76ers did. I'm not going to be put in a position where I absolutely have to pay Tobias Harris whatever he wants or risk losing him for nothing. I am just going to trade him for the Orlando Magic, for Aaron Gordon, who's 23 years old, is obviously on a multi-year contract and a first-round pick in 2023. I know Harris is 5 overalls higher. He's 3 years older. It's not the craziest difference in the world, but we're getting a player here in Aaron Gordon who I certainly could think could fit into our long-term plan. So that is our first trade. I'm very excited about it. I'm not going to lie, this deal kind of hurts because I'm a big fan of Boban, and as I mentioned, I love Avery Bradley, but it's a deal with the Charlotte Hornets. It's going to land us Michael Kidd-Gilchrist and Cody Zeller, neither of which are obviously star players or anything like that, but they're going to be nice role pieces, and more importantly, they're on multi-year contracts. So that is the real reason for this trade. Getting a little bit younger as well while not sacrificing serious assets is certainly something I'm always loving to do here in 2K. So that is our second deal. I think we probably have a few more. A one-for-one player swap is going to land us Will Barton from the Denver Nuggets. We are sending out Marcin Gortat, who's 32 years old, was out of the rotation, and was on an expiring contract. Now, I'm not exactly sure where Will Barton would fit in this rotation. There is a distinct possibility he may not even be in it in year one, but he is 27 years old, on a 3-year contract. Again, not giving up draft picks is kind of the name of the game right now. Another deal I'm really happy with. My apologies, we have one last trade before we set the rotation. We are sending Sindarius Thornwell and a 2023 second-round pick over to the Milwaukee Bucks for a first-round pick in 2022 and DJ Wilson. Sindarius Thornwell was an expiring contract, and he was certainly not going to be in the rotation. So if the Bucks want to give me an unprotected first and a multi-year contract in DJ Wilson, I will certainly take it. All right, I'm going to show you guys how I'm kind of thinking this is going to work. I moved SGA to the point guard spot. We see a couple hits in his overall. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. He'll be my starter there. Beverly will be the backup. Lou Will is actually going to start. I know in his prime, if you will, he was an elite sixth man, but he's going to take over starting responsibilities for us here today. Jerome Robinson is only 21. He obviously never turned into any sort of real, I don't know, quality, I guess is a good word, NBA player, but he is only 21, 74 overall. We'll see. Gallinari, just because he's on a multi-year contract, is going to start. And then I did find some minutes for Will Barton. My original plan was to have MKG be the backup small forward, but we're just going to kind of cut Mike Scott out of the rotation, if you will. And then the power forward spot's going to be Harrell and Zeller. So that's our 10 guys. I will go ahead and set the rotation now. Maybe ended up making a few more trades than I initially anticipated, but I think they are all moves that are going to benefit us in the long run of this rebuild. Here's how it's going to shake out. It's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lou Williams, Nil Gallinari, Aaron Gordon, Montrezl Harrell. Certainly not the most elite 1 through 5 we've ever seen, but again, we weren't exactly expecting much here in year one. So I don't know if we're going to be good. I don't know if we're going to be bad. The most important thing is that not only do we have our own draft pick, we now have many future assets instead of giving up many future assets. It's the way, chef's kiss. It's going to be Will Barton, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Cody Zeller, Patrick Beverly, and Jerome Robinson as my 6 through 10. Really not a lot of surprises there. As I mentioned, Mike Scott kind of fallen out of the rotation. Teodosic, I actually tried to trade. There was really no interest, so he'll just kind of chill there. But this is a team with really one goal right now, is to develop SGA as much as humanly possible. So hopefully he can be an MVP candidate by the time this video ends. So that is where we're at right now. Maybe 8 seed, something like that. Who the hell really knows? I'll see you guys at the end of year number 1. Year 1 comes to an end. It sees us finish with a record of 36-46. As I mentioned, this team won 48 games this year in real life, so about 12 games under where they were actually at. That's fine, though. I would rather not be a 48-win team. I don't really think it does much service to be stuck directly in the middle. So I'm happy with the season. Russell Westbrook's your MVP, about a triple-double. The guy is insane. Luka Doncic, your Rookie of the Year. He is in Dallas. Spencer Dinwiddie, your 6th man. Rudy Gobert, your depoy. Josh Richardson, most improved. And Billy Donovan, or whoever the hell that is, pretending to be Billy Donovan, 68-14, takes home Coach of the Year. It is a safe bet that we are probably not in the playoffs. We finish here as the 11 seed in the West, and certainly going to have, somewhat nice lottery, but well, maybe not. East absolutely sucked. So maybe 30, was that the 37-win Heat as the 8th seed in the playoffs? Good God. What are these conferences? Here are the numbers. Gallinari, Harrell, Lou Will, Aaron Gordon. SGA was relatively similar to what he actually did in his rookie season. So some of the shooting splits, you'd like to maybe see those improve just a little bit. But honestly, for a rookie season, especially for a point guard, definitely not bad whatsoever. Will Barton, Zeller, Robinson, MKG, and then Beverly. Rebounds, we were led by Harrell, and assists was Lou Will. Okay, let's sim through the playoffs. Obviously no play-in in the NBA at this point, so let's just sim our way through and end year 1, and it is a Warriors and a Pacers finals And this year, Kevin Durant did not win a Finals MVP. It would have been his third straight. Instead, Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors won it all. But nope, it is the Pacers. And did the Raptors? Oh no, the Raptors were a 1 seed. I'm like, did they not make the playoffs? Nope, they just lost to the eventual Eastern Conference champions in round 2. All right, Vince Carter, Dirk Nowitzki, Jamal Crawford, a lot of legends. Parker Gasol. Oh man. Oh, Udonis Haslem calling it a career. That's not Udonis Haslem, but significantly earlier than he, of course, actually did in real life. Hall of Fame, Vince Carter and Amari. You're telling me Tony Parker's not a Hall of Famer? Pau Gasol's not a Hall of Famer? Okay. Jersey retirements, cool. Historic changes. All right, Coach's Challenge is good. I don't care about that. This is stupid. It's called a lottery. It's not a lottery for the top 4, right? No. That's good. They're going to change some uniforms and some things. Okay, that's fine. Now, coming up to said draft lottery, we are projected to have the 12th overall pick. I don't typically get lucky in these things. Let's just sim through it, and I do not. I stick right there at number 12. This is the Zion Williamson, John Morant draft class. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do. Doc Rivers, that's not Doc Rivers, but it is certainly a man named Doc Rivers. Yeah, you know... The ratings are pretty good. I wasn't happy with the season we just had. Of course, that's not the actual, there is an actual Doc Rivers coaching profile in here. Obviously, somebody just user created that. But the ratings are pretty good. So I'll hang on to him for now. Or, I guess whoever the hell that is pretending to be Doc. All right, we have the 12th overall pick, number 11 in round 2. I think there's a couple different ways we can go about this. I'm kind of interested in trading up. Of course, this is pretty decent draft class. I mean, Zion and Ja obviously turned into superstars. There's some nice role players here. Maybe I just actually stay there. I mean, RJ Barrett's not really going to be a needle mover for me. Yeah, actually, I'll just stick at 12. Because unless I'm going up to get Zion or Ja, which, who has those picks? It is the Kings and the Bulls. I'll try it. If not, I'll just wait. Oh my God. Okay. Well, we are going to be selecting very high in the lottery. We just landed ourselves one Zion Williamson. My initial plan was to, of course, hang on to Aaron Gordon, have him be one of the pieces we build around today. But, of course, when you're able to land a player as good as Zion, that's not really necessary. So it's Aaron Gordon, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Mike Scott, our 12th overall pick this year, and our first-round pick next year. I made it top 3 protected, all for number 1 overall. All right, well, we're going to land ourselves Zion. Certainly wasn't expecting that, and there's also definitely an argument that John Morant may be a better NBA player now just because of health reasons, but then again, Zion was certainly one of the most hyped prospects ever. We also have the 12th overall pick in round 2. See a player like Grant Williams sitting here. I know many people don't like him. Lou Dort also sitting here. Certainly an argument there, but I think Lou Dort's just going to be too low of an overall. Certainly would take Lou Dort over Grant Williams right now, but I think maybe just from where they're listed in the rankings, I think Williams makes a little more sense. I'm not saying it's the best pick in the world, but it is our pick. 71 and 81 overall, respectively. Okay, now what we have to do is decide what we want to do with the rest of this starting 5, the rest of this core, if you will. There is certainly a lot of talented players here in free agency, and I would be remiss if I didn't even consider offering some of these guys a contract. Currently have about $27 million in cap space and no real notable free agents that we're interested in bringing back. So I am certainly interested in at least acquiring one of these superstars here. So we're going to have to do a little bit of legwork, clear up a little bit of money. Danilo Gallinari, in his 1 year and about $19 million remaining on his contract, are going to head to the Chicago Bulls for an unprotected first in 2020 in Chandler Hutchinson. Not really sure why the Bulls are willing to give up all that just for Gallo. The Bulls were literally just picking second overall this year, and now they just traded me their unprotected first next season. Maybe they really value Gallinari. I don't really know. But that certainly cleared up a little bit more cap space for us as well. Now, just taking a look at the money we do have. We have the hypothetical dollars to go out and sign a Kevin Durant. Of course, we could make a play like they actually did for Kawhi Leonard. Also could be interested in maybe a Nikola Jokic. I mean, there's all sorts of players we can get here. We just have to be a little bit kind of considerate of the path we're going to take. I don't think Kevin Durant's going to come here. I think it's pretty much completely out of the equation. I don't think we were good enough for KD to even really consider signing with us. I know that's kind of funny because he eventually did leave to Brooklyn. I think James Harden could be fun as well. He has 4 offers right now. Only real one is from the Timberwolves. Would James Harden rather, be a Clipper, where he obviously ended up eventually? Certainly possible. I'm going to make 3 offers. Those 3 offers are going to be to James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, and, well, I'm actually going to pass on Kawhi, I think. Well, he doesn't have any real offers. I'm kind of torn because part of me also says, hey, I can just go out and get Jimmy Butler. He has 0 offers right now. He would probably 100% take it. But I also maybe want to make a play for Jokic. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to offer all of them, and hopefully at least one accepts. That's what we're going to do. Because realistically, I would take any of Harden, Leonard, or Jokic over Jimmy Butler at this point in time. I think that is a fair argument, and we know we're going to get Kawhi. I know technically we're just rewriting history, and of course Kawhi Leonard. Him and Paul George in LA didn't really 100% work out. Kawhi obviously still there, still going strong, but we're going to make an effort at least to get hopefully one. We actually got two. I could get Harden or Kawhi. How much money would I have to clear up to get both? Hypothetically speaking, it would probably be Barton and Zeller gone. I can do this. It's going to completely wipe out our bench, but I think I can do this. Because, shit. I wish I could see exactly. Because if I don't accept here and I renounce everybody else, I think I could clear... If I clear up the contracts of Will Barton and Cody Zeller, who are certainly nice role players for this team, but they are probably replaceable. Bulls are just getting abused in today's video. I think I could maybe get both of them. I think. It might be close, but I think it's possible. Now, let me clear up some of the bums down here, like Zaire Smith, excuse me. I'm not going to keep abusing the Bulls. Thank you very much, Memphis. Do I have enough? Oh, my God. Oh my God, Jokic went to the Hawks, but who cares? We just got Kawhi and James Harden, and we got the prime version of both of them. Oh my God. Montrezl Harrell has 1 year, $6 million left on his contract, and unfortunately, for whatever reason, his relations are heated with us right now. If I go back to, the all-player view, he's actually down 3 overalls, and with him being an expiring contract, and he's pissed off at us for whatever reason, he's not going to resign. I'd rather take advantage of this right now, maybe move him for a Nikola Vucevic, obviously on a multi-year contract. So some other players I can include in here. How about a DJ Wilson? I'd like to maybe hang on to Grant because I actually might give him 10 minutes a game behind Zion. Chandler Hutchinson can certainly go as well, and thank you very much, Orlando. So we definitely have lost some of the quality depth that we had with this team, but there are a lot more big names here now, a lot more star power, if you will. I am going to hang on to Lou Will. He will slide back to where he does his best work as a sixth man, and now it is just about filling out this bench unit that we have obviously depleted a little bit. Looks like Patrick Beverley is interested in coming back. That's fine by me. Some other notable names. Actually, what positions do we need? We need a backup small forward and a backup center. Small forward options are not great. And then the center options, Alex Len's only 26. That's actually fine if we want to slide him in here as a backup big man. And then, oh boy. These are not great. I'm actually going to bring in Jonas Jerebko, and he will be my backup small forward. Insane offseason. I will see you guys at the start of year 2. I wasn't really planning for the offseason to go that way. I was going to kind of give it another year of keeping that core intact, but when an opportunity is, as good as that one just did, presented itself in front of me, I kind of had to jump on it. So we've now created a super team, almost similar to what the Clippers actually did in this offseason. We're actually a lot better than they are or were, but you get my point, right? We've kind of put ourselves in a similar position, except we didn't give up 8 million draft picks and a future MVP candidate to do it. So it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Zion Williamson, Nikola Vucevic. I also realize Harden's up to a 99 overall. Absolutely insane. I'm also fully aware that with these moves, we're probably not going to be able to get SGA into the MVP conversation by the time this video ends, but that's fine. Lou Will moves back to the bench unit. He's about our one and only really quality bench piece. I guess you can throw Patrick Beverley in that mix if you want. Game actually recommends I start Beverley over SGA. No, I'm not going to do that. Alex Leonard, backup center, Grant Williams, then Jonas Jerebko, both getting minutes. Certainly 9 and 10 are something we could consider upgrades at some point in time in the next offseason. But we are loaded. It's a God squad. I will see you guys at the end of year number 2. It is another MVP for Mr. Russell Westbrook, but more importantly, we finished with a record of 69 and 13. Nice. It is obviously leaps and bounds better than the 36 or whatever wins we had last season. We are a serious contender, and we actually might damn well be the very heavy favorite. All right, Zion Williamson does win Rookie of the Year for us. Coming into the league, we put a couple different superstars around him. Obviously, SGA, brought in Vucevic as well. This man still wins Rookie of the Year. CP3 is now an Indiana Pacer. He's your 6th man of the year. Giannis is your depoy. Sabonis, most improved. And Doc, well, you get my point. Our head coach, who is also coincidentally named Doc Rivers your coach of the year. All right, it is time for the playoffs. First and foremost, let's check the standings. We were 11 games up on the Trailblazers for the 1 seed. We were 10 games up on the Indiana Pacers for the best record in basketball. Let's dive into some numbers real quick. See how everybody played. It was James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Zion Williamson. SGA did take another step in the right direction. He's up to 52% from the field, 43% from three, and that is even with all this talent around him. Now, there's certainly the other argument that more talent around you helps you play better. It also means that he doesn't get to score the ball as much. You get the point. Vucevic, Lou Will, Patrick Beverley, Len Jerebko, and then Grant Williams. We scored a lot of fucking points. I am just curious. I don't really ever look at this too often, but we had to be like at the top of the league for points per game, right? That's not what I meant to do. This is why I don't ever go in here in this menu, because it's just way too goddamn complicated. We were number one in points per game, and we were the second best defensive team, only behind the Pistons. So obviously best differential. It is time. Western Conference playoffs. Golden State Warriors. The dynasty is still going. Obviously, Kevin Durant has departed for greener pastures, but there's still Steph, there's still Clay. You got Draymond. They added Miles Turner somehow. Obviously, Iguodala. So a talented and a pain in the ass of a first-round matchup nonetheless. We are down 2-1. Not the way I wanted this playoffs to start. Down 3-2 now. Now going to Game 7. We do win that Game 7. Okay, I was going to be very upset if we had lost in round 1. Certainly about as tough of a matchup as you can have in round 1. The Pelicans are here. Anthony Davis is still a Pelican at this point in time. You got Drew Holiday, Julius Randle. Interesting Pelicans team. They don't really move me as much as the Warriors did, to be honest with you. I think we are clearly a better team. So up 3-2 right now against them. We close them out in 6. Certainly have had some longer playoff series, but we're at a good point. This is funny. I mean, this is almost cinematic in a way. Obviously, the big Paul George trade never happened. I still think Paul George's tenure did not last long enough in Oklahoma City, but I don't think you'll find many Thunder fans complaining about their team and their future these days. So here goes nothing in the West Finals. Quick 2-0 lead for us. We go up 3-0, and we sweep the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. It is now lost to the Atlanta Hawks. They did sign Nikola Jokic away from the Denver Nuggets. The rest of their team doesn't move me a ton. I mean, Trae Young is relatively young, still a solid player, but I think this may be the worst. I don't want to say worst, but it's probably the worst. All right, we are heading to Atlanta for a potential closeout Game 5 here on the road, and let's just hope and pray we can fight back. I always love a good sweep. We are battling back and forth right now here in the third. As we head to the fourth, they have kind of run away with it. And now we will head back to Los Angeles for a hopeful closeout Game 5. On our home floor, let's just get this done. This is what the Clippers were supposed to do when they made the big moves, added Paul George, added Kawhi Leonard. Of course, that never happened. We're trying to rewrite history here, and history is not going my way right now because we keep choking, and I'm not a fan of doing that. Okay, now the pressure's kind of creeping up a little bit. Good start here in this game. Let's just hold this lead. Okay, we're good. Okay, we are good. I will see you guys in there. We'll get a couple shots up. Okay, we are here in Atlanta, all the way to Game 6 after being up 3-0. Certainly not my favorite thing in the world, but it looks like unless we catastrophically blow this lead, we are going to be winning this game. I'm pretty sure it is damn near impossible to blow a lead of, what is that, 50-some-odd points? It's insane. I guess we can kind of talk about this Clippers team, and, obviously the point of this rebuild was to do it before the Kawhi and Paul George additions. I wasn't necessarily planning on adding Kawhi Leonard. It wasn't in my plans. Did Jokic get fouled on a 3? He must have. My main goal was to just see if this team had kind of held on to SGA. Of course, if they did and we didn't go out and make the moves we did, we probably aren't in serious contention right now, a damn near 70-win team. But you get the point, right? I mean, things could be a lot different for the Clippers if they had just held on. And I do think sometimes people forget that if they didn't make the Paul George trade, they don't get Kawhi Leonard either. Now, obviously, hindsight, everybody's just going to say, well, what did that get them? A singular Western Conference Finals appearance, no finals appearances, obviously no championships. You're right. And if they could go back in time, they would make that trade. But nobody thought of SGA as an MVP candidate back then. And I understand that's, scouting and front office jobs to be able to not somewhat predict that, but to be able to recognize who are your really good young players, right? And Paul George, if you remember, in Oklahoma City, was an MVP candidate. I'm pretty sure he finished third in MVP voting the year he was in Oklahoma City. So I'm just saying, sometimes you never know. These things do happen, but obviously this ended up being, I would consider it maybe one of the worst trades in NBA history, especially if the Thunder win a championship with this current core, which I think it would be almost, I don't want to say that. That's getting ahead of myself. I was going to say it would be almost impossible for them to not win at least one, but You never know with these things. You really never do. I mean, who would have thought that KD, Russ, and James Harden couldn't have gotten a ring together in Oklahoma City? So you never really do know. I think, obviously, the Thunder are the clear-cut winners of this deal, especially when you look at where the Clippers are now in the offseason they've had. Obviously, lost Paul George for nothing. You got Kawhi Leonard, who's basically always just injured, unfortunately, at this point. So future's not great for the Clippers, that is for sure. I'm pretty sure they don't control their own draft pick until 2030. It's unfortunate, but it is the reality they find themselves in. So interesting to just see, man. I remember when this Woj bomb dropped, I wasn't awake, but I remember waking up the next morning and just seeing all the notifications on my phone of the implications of this deal, and obviously we know the way things worked out. So we're going to close this one out. Kawhi Leonard just going to drive down on Trae Young, gets it to go. I will see you guys with the Finals MVP. Always love a year 2 championship, but obviously alleviates some of the pressure. James Harden finally gets that ring and that Finals MVP he has so worked hard for. Finally gets it done. All right, Ariza Iguodala calling it a career as well. Kendrick fucking Perkins, okay. Monte Ellis also going out. It is staff retirement time, historic changes. Conference-based playoffs. Oh, it's just a plan. Yeah, that's cool. And then a couple logos. Okay, it is draft lottery time. Have we traded for a pick in here? That Chicago Bulls pick that we got is projected at number 11. You know, not in the top as where the Bulls were last year, but I will certainly take, a relatively high pick. Doc Rivers, and going to be hanging on to him or whoever the hell that is, pretending to be Doc. We have the 11th overall pick. I actually am going to use the 11th overall pick, and what I might do, because this is the 2020 draft. This is LaMelo, Anthony Edwards. Now, I know I'm not going to get one of those guys, but if I can get somebody who can just be a little bit of a better bench piece than what I had with Jonas Jerebko or maybe even Grant Williams, it certainly wouldn't hurt. So I actually might try to move up a little bit. We take a look at the lottery. Like maybe number 5 with Denver. Like could that be a possibility here? We have a bunch of draft picks we haven't traded yet, and of course a little bit different to the way the Clippers actually traded their draft picks. This is my last year. I don't have anything to do after this. So we move on from number 11. I will also maybe include, where is Grant Williams? Oh, he's expired, really? I want to hang on to Len. I think he's actually still fine. All right, we'll just get this done with draft picks then. I obviously cannot take them with me, so let's just move on from whatever it is. Thank you. We're not going to get LaMelo or Ant most likely, but let's just see who is available. It is LaMelo, Ant, I forgot about him, and Devin Vassell so far. So James Wiseman actually appears to be a relatively high overall. Many people these days would just consider James Wiseman a very, very strong draft bust, as he has now moved on to his third team and is nothing but a rotation piece. So I honestly might take him. I see Emmanuel quickly sitting here, but our scouting department says Wiseman is a 78 overall. Ooh, Tyrese Maxey also sitting here. Maxey feels like one of those younger guys that's a little bit more of a project, though, right? You know what I'm saying? It would be insane not to draft him, though. I'm taking Tyrese Maxey. All right. Going to do that, and then we have the last pick in round 2. I don't really want it, so thank you, Milwaukee. All right, we're going to have a couple other changes to the bench. I know Tyrese Maxey may not be as high of an overall. He's a 73, as James Wiseman was, but it's fine. Who really cares? SGA and Grant Williams both going to be brought back. David Nwaba not going to be getting qualified. And as we enter free agency, we still don't really have any free agents. And as we also enter free agency, I am certainly happy that I spent my money last offseason. You see, a lot of young free agents here like Ingram, Sabonis, JB, Jamal Murray, but they're all restricted. So thank God we spent our money when we had the chance. Montrezl Harrell is apparently still just pissed at the world. I don't really know why. I think right now what we're going to do is try to craft out 1 or 2 trades. A deal here with the Miami Heat is going to land us Bam Adebayo. Only a 78 overall, 23 years old. Of course, we all know how great Bam is today. Here in 2K, isn't quite nearly the player that he is these days, but he is certainly still a very solid backup center option for us. Also getting Jeff Green in this deal, certainly a guy I could hang on to. I know he's 33. Also could move him. I'm going to kind of consider all my options. My main goal for this kind of off-season, if you will, was to really just reshape this bench unit a little bit. There's also an argument to maybe move on from Lou Will, but as long as that overall doesn't go down to like a 77, I think I can hang on to him for the final year. So what I'm going to do right now is maybe move on from Alex Len. I do want to see who my options are here in free agency. Looks like we actually have a little bit of money. How about if I bring in a guy like Harrison Barnes to maybe be my backup small forward? I actually like that a lot. All right, we bring him in. I'm also going to consider a Jeff Green deal just because I want to, I don't want to be not super old. That's not the right word, but I don't want to be relatively old in 2 spots on my bench. I'd rather just maybe move on, cut some ties. So if we move both these players who obviously aren't really 100% eating here, Henry Ellenson, oh my God. I need a power forward. Let's just actually do this a different way. Let's look at power forwards making about $6.5 million. It's probably not the longest list in the world, but there are hopefully a few names that are somewhat talented, and we have a few draft picks left that we could maybe trade. So let's just see. Jaren Jackson Jr., probably not. Marcus Morris is sitting here. He's 30. Bobby Portis actually could be a fun name. So if we move on from Len, and then we also include Green, and then I can definitely get this done with draft picks. Just take whatever you want. Doesn't really matter to me. All right, I will see you guys at the start of the third and final regular season. Last season, of course, we won 69 games. We were the 1 seed in the West, but more importantly, we won a championship. That was my original goal throughout the entirety of this video. This offseason, I think we have done nothing but gotten better. The starting 5 remains intact, but the bench unit is just so much better and so much deeper. It's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Zion Williamson, Nikola Vucevic. Bench unit will still be led by Lou Will. We see the overall going down a couple. It's not my favorite thing, but it's also not the end of the world. Brought in Bam Adebayo to be my backup center. Got it Bobby Portis here, Harrison Barnes, and then Tyrese Maxey, who is just, unfortunately, our lowest overall, right? If this was like a 10-year rebuild, I'd certainly try to play him a little bit more, but not the situation we find ourselves in. The situation we do find ourselves in is hopefully going to be another great season, and hopefully another championship. From time to time, I am occasionally surprised when I end a season with the best record in NBA history. Today is not one of those times. This team is so good. We went 76-6. It is far and away the best record in NBA history, and it is hopefully time for a second championship. Giannis Antetokounmpo is your MVP. LaMelo Ball is now a member of the Miami Heat. He's your Rookie of the Year. CP3, once again, your 6th man. Giannis wins another DPOY. Check Diallo, most improved. Not a name I've heard in a while. And yeah, you guys know the joke at this point. Not really, actually, Doc. All right, it's a safe bet. We're a 1 seed. 22 games up on the New Orleans Pelicans, who were the 2 seed. And just insane, right? I mean, just look at the amount of talent we have here. We don't have a single guy that scored 20-plus points a game. And honestly, that's just because we were so well-balanced, right? It's just such an attack and such a team that can just hurt you so many different ways. Kevin Durant's here. Okay, I didn't see him for a sec. I was like, we can kind of skip over this, but nope, he's actually a pretty important player. I still think we're going to kick the living shit out of them, but certainly a little bit of a challenge. All right, never mind. We sweep. Now moving on to the Phoenix Suns. You got Booker, you got Ayton, Mikal Bridges, Jeremy Grant's nice. They don't move me. I'm not going to lie. That's a sweep. Pelicans. I mean, hypothetically, we probably should sweep everybody, right? Like the law of averages, if we lost 6 games through 82, maybe we lose a single game in a playoff run, maybe 2, but none of these teams move me nearly enough. It is us and the Brooklyn Nets. D'Angelo Russell, Malcolm Brogdon, Rodion Kurucs, Washington, and there's just not a fucking shot in hell. All right, James Harden, 2nd straight finals MVP, and we get it done, right? We get it done. I was not, anticipating this video going this way. I had a bunch of different ideas for some of the players I could have considered adding. I always try to like somewhat plan out my videos in my head. I don't obviously tell you guys that because then what's the point of watching the video? But like you get my point, right? I have an idea of the way I think things are going to go, and they go a very, very different way. But I'm happy they went this way because this team was really fucking good, and this team obviously won 2 championships. So I very much enjoyed. I know I've talked about it a bunch in my recent videos, but we are in basically the deadest time, if that is even a phrase, of the year for NBA 2K content creation. We are hanging on with straws basically until 2K25. So let me know anything else you guys want to see down below in the comment section. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.